Hi, welcome to our first episode of the Mosaic Project. So, you might wonder what the Mosaic Project is. It's an initiative to empower people to become whole again. I'm Aisha, and I'm so glad to kick off this first episode of the Mosaic Project with Dr. Natasha De Cruz. Dr. Natasha is a practicing psychologist and psychotherapist. She is the director of the Nani Group based in Pune, India, as well as the chairman of the Reach Out for Life Foundation, which is a suicide prevention organization. I want to kick off the Mosaic Project with really asking Dr. Natasha to define mental health and well-being. I had to listen to my interview a couple of times for it to really sink in because she busts so many myths about our understanding of mental health and well-being. So I learned a few things, and I hope you do too. But more importantly, I hope you begin to have these conversations with your family, your friend circle, your aging parents. And we all together begin to raise our level of IQ and EQ about what mental health and well-being is. So over to Dr. Natasha.
So thank you for having me, and I feel like this is a great place to start. And though a lot of people, there's a lot of talk and a lot of buzz that's going on right now, specifically about mental health, given the situation that we all find ourselves in. This is a question that comes up quite often. So when we talk about mental health, is it mental health? Is it mental illness? What's the difference? Is there a difference? And how do we understand what's happening, right? So if we have to break it up, mental health is a state of well-being where you can have good mental health, right? Or you can have not so good or bad mental health. Now, when we say somebody has good mental health, it means that they have fairly good or reasonable coping resources, that they are able to deal with everyday stressors that simply living brings about, that they are able to function well, they are able to get through the day with not so much of struggle or so much of interference, and they're also productive, so they're able to do work, life, have healthy relationships, and also contribute to the community. So that's mental health. So when somebody has good mental health, we're talking about them being able to do a variety of these things, right? And when we talk about mental illness, this is what we look at in terms of clinical diagnosis, where people have difficulties or disorders that relate to mental health. And this could be an entire spectrum, right? From your mood disorders, where you have depression, or you have anxiety disorders, where you have generalized anxiety disorders, or there's addiction, or there are disorders of childhood, or geriatric disorders. So I think it's important to understand that you can have mental illness and have good mental health, because your mental illness is taken care of, you're on medication, you're doing therapy, you know how to manage things, right? Or you can have bad mental health even though you don't have a mental illness, right? And that's something that's important to understand, because I feel like a lot of people think that if I'm going for therapy, that means I have to have a mental illness. And that's not always true. You can have counseling or therapy just so that you can achieve the potential that you believe that you're able to achieve. And so that you can, create coping mechanisms so that your mental health is good in the event that stresses come about that you can't really handle, or you feel like you might not be able to handle.
Okay. So you're saying it's not a spectrum. They're almost unrelated.
So I know that it's conventional wisdom to believe that it's a spectrum, and some way at some point in our life we're either at one end or the other end of the spectrum. But I feel like it's easier to understand them as being two separate entities that could probably work together. So you could have, let's say, if we divide them into quadrants, you could have good mental health and mental illness, and then you can have good mental health and no mental illness, and vice versa. So there could be 4 combinations of this. And I feel like it's easier to understand it as two separate things as opposed to putting it on a spectrum, because then it almost seems like it's mutually exclusive. Deal with situations change. So our mental health could therefore change from time to time, right? And not everybody has, or let's say the first episode of a mental illness episode doesn't happen right from birth. So there's going to be a point in time where you're mental illness free, right? Once, let's say you have the first episode of a mental illness, let's say you have, you've had your major depressive episode and you've had one major depressive episode, then yes, there could be times where you don't meet diagnostic criteria for, major depressive episode, right? So it's not so black and white. I feel like these are spectrum things.
So if it is a spectrum, and let's talk about mental health. So for example, there are everyday stressors inherent to our lives, whether it's, people trying to balance their work life and home, generally living, financial stress and whatnot. And then there could be, temporary phases that could come, go, or stay, which could be a job loss,
Right.
maybe a toxic relationship. So does it stop? When does it go from being okay to not okay, where you actually need help? So when is it a question of a problem versus resilience? So for example, let's say, I lose my job for some time, but I have a support system. I don't have so much to worry about. Of course, I'm stressed because I'm used to being, in a career, so it's bringing me down.
Right.
But I still, I'm still able to manage it. But I'm also feel very depressed and anxious. So when does it start to become not okay, when you need to seek out help?
So I feel like, over here, there are two ways to look at it. Either we are preemptive about something, right? And that's where, before a mental health situation surfaces, you're kind of gathering your arsenal to have coping mechanisms enough to deal with these stressors that come in, right? That's also a good time to look at counseling or therapy before anything has really happened, where you feel like, it's happened in the past where I've gotten overwhelmed and that situation doesn't exist right now, but I want to preempt that for the future. And so then I get on and, reach out to somebody and get help for that, right? So this is being preemptive. Or you're in a situation where that hasn't happened and you feel like you're not able to function as well as you used to, right? And it's gone on for longer than you would like. And then that's a good time to go and get help, right? So again, this is not a one fit all, because all of us do have varying experiences. Our ability and our coping mechanisms also, are based on probably past learning or upbringing or childhood experiences or life experiences. So it would be different for different people. And that's why you're the best, judge of, this is too much for me to take right now, and I need help. Now, this could be preemptive or one while you're in, a difficult situation as well.
So for lack of a better analogy, it's almost, it's a little bit like a headache. All of us could have a headache. You could have
Right.
but you feel like when it's recurring and it's longer, where it makes you suspicious of what's happening, or it sort of restricts what you can do in the day, and it begins to impact the way you function on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
That's when you need to seek help. Okay.
And the functioning, it need not just be work-wise or, what I used to do in a day. It could also be in terms of relationship. Like I just can't handle this dynamic anymore, right? I'm doing great at work. I'm able to do all of my household chores and I'm functioning, so because we do have people who are very high functioning, but are still struggling, right? And there are some things that don't have to be a struggle. There are ways that you can, teach yourself how to do it when it's not so much of a struggle. So like I said, it's different for different people, because our perception of and our experience of life is going to be different. So it will vary based on where they are at. Like, if we're taking the analogy of the headache, everybody has a different pain threshold, right? So my pain threshold is going to be very different from your pain threshold, and you would probably be the best judge of, I can't do this anymore, even if it's happened just once, right? That once might be enough of times for you to seek help. We don't have to wait for it to be multiple times and, like you're bogged down and you can't move anymore for you to get help.
Okay. So you almost have to tune into yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Extremely mindful and aware, and that helps quite a bit.
It sort of throws you off.
Right. So I think the first thing that we get, and it's quite common, is that, I'm not crazy. Like, I didn't come so far because I didn't want people to think I'm crazy, or I didn't want to feel crazy because I'm reaching out for whether it's anxiety or depression. So that's one, that people still have the idea, the stigma attached to mental health, where you have to be crazy. And I feel like the stereotype of crazy is, where people have to be restrained and they're in mental health facilities or a sanatorium, and that's a stereotype and a stigma that we're dealing with. So that's one. Two, a lot of people come and say that I didn't, like, it's not such a big deal, like somebody else is able to do it, and look at their life and they seem to have worse stuff happening to them, but they're okay. So why can't I do this? Like, am I weak because I can't do this and I have to take external help? So very often taking external help is almost looked down upon, like I'm not strong enough, I'm not brave enough, I can't just suck it up and go on with it. So that makes me weak. These two things are things that are common occurrences, and I think we hear this quite often even now.
And funny you brought that up because with the recent suicide of Sushant Singh Rajput,
Right.
again, everyone's sort of reacting to this whole topic of depression. And of course, we all have our own opinions and we have to voice them out. So I also, came across posts that said there are so many migrant laborers who, they've had to leave everything and walk back, hundreds of miles, and they've been hungry and they've survived. And here are the youth of today, especially, who feel like anything and everything is an issue, and in some sense they're cowards for giving up on things. So can you just talk about how you look at it as a mental health professional in this space?
Right. Like we were just saying that everybody's perception and experiences in life and their coping mechanisms and their ability to be resilient, which comes under mental health, is different. So I feel like it's completely unfair to compare or to put them on the same platform for both people, because their experiences have been completely different. Their perception of the world has been completely different. The way that they've learned coping mechanisms have been completely different. Biology, genetics also plays a role in mental illness. So that is as well completely different. So from a mental health point of view, it's chalk and cheese, right? It's people's level of resilience that's different and can't be compared, because again, they're unique individuals and they're a product of environment and genetic and social environment and nature and nurture and all of that come together, right? So I feel like it's completely unfair to compare these two because they've had completely different life experiences.
I'd like to ask to wrap it up with talking about what's happening currently. I mean, the situation of Corona, people are sort of locked indoors for extended periods of time, and it's sort of bringing out, the best and worst in people in many ways. Everyone's reacting differently, but as a doctor in this space where you're seeing patients, what are you seeing? What are you observing right now that you can help people recognize what's happening with them, and what's your message to people, during these times?
So the first thing is that this is a very unnatural situation for us to be in, right? To be confined to a space, not having enough of mechanism to do physical activity, which is extremely essential for mental health as well. Also, we're not like little biological things, that we might not be eating the right way, or we might not be eating the right time, or very important, if you've been indoors for 90 days, you're not seeing the sun at all. So I'm guessing there's going to be some amount of deficiencies in terms of vitamins, especially vitamin D, which is very there's a strong link to anxiety, mood issues, and vitamin D being deficient. So one is that we have to take care of all of these things while we're being indoors. So constantly try to formulate as much of a routine as you can, and it should be as close to what you were used to previously. Eat well, eat healthy, get some amount of exercise, and don't hesitate to ask for help. Like how we would reach out to a medical profession if we are not feeling right, or if you're feeling too much of anything. It needs to be as simple as that. I know it's not, but ideally it needs to be as simple as that, to reach out to a mental health professional if I'm not feeling okay, right? And don't have to wait for something big to happen to reach out.
I think you were spot on when you spoke about it being preemptive. It's better to be preemptive rather than to wait and sort of, till you're completely overwhelmed. So thanks, Natasha. It was really very enlightening speaking to you. And I hope
Pleasure.
we're able to spread the message, and I'm sure we'll be connecting more often on topics related.
I look forward to that.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, so hope you liked our first episode despite the distractions. So like, comment, share, and more importantly, have these conversations. And let us know what you'd like to hear about so we can get even better as we go along. It was fun doing this. I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. Till then, till the next episode, peace.